We can get caught up in social media, doom scrolling, fear scrolling, just scrolling to find a glimmer of hope and good news. We all know the feeling. You see something infuriating, and before you can stop yourself, you're pounding the keys, firing off a post that will change the world, or at least change someone's mind. Anyone else do that? But honestly, beloved, here's the thing. Posting on social media probably won't change things as much as we hope. So why doesn't it work, and what can we do instead?
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Well, hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast. My name is Robert Cottrell, and I'm here as always with
Susan Cottrell.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Please connect with us at freedhearts.org. That's the home of everything we do. Today, our podcast is inspired by everything that's going on today. And in the past several weeks, past several years, I guess, for the future, who knows. But it's inspired by a blog post by our friend Keith Giles on the Patheos platform. We loved it, and we asked Keith if we could share it with you, and he said, absolutely. So here we go. Yeah, you know, we get caught up in social media, don't we?
Kind of like a spider's web.
I mean, I'll be working at my desk, and you'll come in and to talk about something else, like what's for dinner, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, what's on the screen? What is that? And it's like, and read the article. It's so easy to get caught up.
It's designed that way.
Yeah, and social media, be it doom scrolling or fear scrolling or just scrolling to find a glimmer of hope and good news somewhere.
Yeah.
And we all know the feeling. You see something infuriating on social media, and before you know it, before you can stop yourself, you're pounding the keys.
Running with your horses. No, you're pounding
the keys, firing off a post that's going to change the world, or at least change someone's mind. Anyone else do that? Yeah, but honestly, beloved, here's the thing. Posting on social media probably won't change things as much as we hope, and we want to talk about that today.
It won't? Shoot. Yeah, we're certainly not saying that sharing our thoughts is bad, and it can, and it has impacted people, caused them to stop and think, planted a seed, and we've seen that in our work countless times. Yeah, it's good to have a voice and be passionate about what's right, but, beloved, if we're expecting that one post or even a series of posts will change entire systems, then we're setting ourselves up for disappointment.
Yeah.
And it's easy to go down the rabbit hole of doom scrolling. Gosh, I have done that, posting things and especially commenting and reacting. And, you know, that's then you're reactive instead of proactive.
Yeah, that's right. And we want to be proactive and really make a difference out there in what's going on, especially now with our transgender friends and family and the entire gay community and any of the least of these, those who are being oppressed and marginalized. And the list is growing, it seems. So let's talk about why this doesn't work, why this kind of social media posting doesn't work. And we'll go through a few things here. And number one, the algorithms work against us. I get so frustrated by algorithms because I don't know what they are. And they don't tell you, of course, but I don't know what they are. I can't figure them out. And it seems so random. It's not, but it seems random to me. And I don't know how to get past them. I mean, on Instagram lately, since mid to late January, I wonder what happened in mid to late January. We've kind of exploded in number of followers, and we're reaching about 1 million plus people a month, easy. And one of our posts got 180,000 likes, and others get a few hundred. I mean, who knows? You know, who knows why that is? What we do know is that all social media platforms are designed to amplify arguments, not truth.
Yeah.
So even the most thoughtful post often gets lost unless it's divisive enough to spark controversy. So the algorithms work against us.
Okay, that's horrifying. Number two, surface level engagement. Sharing a post or a meme might feel like action, but it's rarely transformative. And again, it can get people to stop and think or rethink or plant a seed, but very often it's too easy to just click share without taking any action steps.
Yeah, any concrete steps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're all, and we've talked about, we'll continue to talk about just how busy we are and how overwhelmed it seems. So sometimes it's easier just to click share or like or something and kind of think we've done all that we can.
Yeah, like I'll come across something really interesting or funny or whatever, and I'll forward it to you or the kids because then I've done something. Then I can move on instead of just letting it go.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to just disappear, so I sent it somewhere, and it feels like an action, but they're just gonna let it go. You know what I mean?
Well, and it is. I mean, I will say that we do talk about, we have our community and we want to keep our community and those who are close to us informed. And so that is a concrete action by letting people that we care about know what's happening or what's developing. But what we're trying to say here in this point, or what Keith was trying to say in this point here was a lot of social media posts are just surface level engagement, and to really make a difference, we need to go deeper. And that leads to number 3, which is lack of real dialogue. And we've said that there's no more civil discourse out there.
Yeah.
I personally believe that the answer to most issues is somewhere in the middle, but there's no more middle. And we can't even talk about what that might look like.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus modeled deep personal conversations that invited transformation. Social media doesn't do that. It doesn't foster that same kind of connection. Honestly, it's more about broadcasting than it is about listening.
Yeah. Like the intimacy of those conversations with Jesus that we read about, those are very intimate. They're very authentic and deep. And I think most of us today would be incredibly uncomfortable with that much intimacy, that much vulnerability and exposure. Yeah. I don't mean him calling people out. I mean just the digging deep and speaking authentically. I think it's much easier behind a keyboard to just click, 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 send.
Well, a couple of things. I mean, one, if we say things in a comment that we would never say face to face, that should call into question what we're saying.
Right.
But we also are on the receiving end of that. There's so much hate and out there right now and bullying and everything else that it is vulnerable sometimes, and it is risky to put yourself out there. And it's hard. I mean, it is hard not face to face. It is hard through a keyboard to have a genuine dialogue, real dialogue. It just doesn't work. And honestly, the social media, checking our phones, everything we have going on in the world, sometimes you think, I don't really have time for that kind of dialogue. Well, that's kind of how it was it's designed to do.
They don't want you engaging. They want you spending.
Yeah. And they want us clicking and viewing and moving on and not taking the time. Because when we're talking to somebody face to face or over the phone or even over text back and forth, whatever that is, we're not clicking on social media.
Right.
And they don't want that.
Right. Engagement's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a recent article by Janice Rose at 404 Media. It's called "You Can't Post Your Way Out of Fascism." The author points out that, quote, authoritarians and tech CEOs now share the same goal: to keep us locked in an eternal doom scroll instead of organizing against them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's terrifying. And the main point is this: if we spend all our time and energy reposting, liking, and sharing on social media, what we are not doing is connecting on a tangible level to actually stop what we're raging against.
Wow.
Yeah. As someone said recently, with all that's going on, pick the couple of issues that mean the most to you and connect locally to make a difference. That's a tangible way to impact what we care about.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important. There are so many things. We talk about so many things are being thrown against the wall like spaghetti, and they'll see what sticks.
Right.
And it does get overwhelming.
Right.
Several episodes ago, we talked about that.
Yes.
And how to triage the chaos and not be overwhelmed. And a main point in that is pick a couple of things that you're really connected with.
Right.
That really resonate with your heart and connect locally.
Yes.
Get involved with those.
Right.
And that's a real tangible way to make an impact.
Yeah. Yes, and I guess or ways that places where you see that you have an avenue to make an impact.
Right.
Yes. And as Rose says at the top of her article, it says, if there's one thing I'd hoped people had learned going into the next 4 years of Donald Trump as president, it's that spending lots of time online posting about what people in power are saying and doing is not going to accomplish anything. If anything, it's exactly what they want. In other words, all that rage posting does is enable the ones you hope to oppose. It keeps us angry and furious and typing away, but often not personally plugged in and active.
Yeah, I mean, again, if we spend all this time on social media, checking our phones, checking our laptops, checking our tablets, whatever it is, we don't have time to get involved. Right. Well, that's what they want.
It feels like action. I think we do it because it feels like we're doing something.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this episode today.
Yeah.
Right.
And as she continues, the result is a media environment that keeps us in a state of debilitating fear and anger, endlessly reacting to our oppressors instead of organizing against them. To that end, the age of corporate social media has been a roaring success.
Now, beloved, I will say I'm as guilty of this as anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we do have a strong presence on social media, reaching millions of people each month. And I will say that the engagement on many of our posts is thought-provoking and powerful. And I do believe our work has and is changing the conversation on love and inclusion, freeing hearts to love and be loved. But is that enough? I mean, I ask myself that all the time. Is that enough? How much impact am I really having, and how could I be having more? And those are questions that I'm seeking answers to in my mind and my heart. And I think, in unique, unprecedented times like these, we may have to take unique and unprecedented actions. We have to step outside our own box, outside of our own comfort zone. So what can we do? We have a couple things here on what maybe we can consider doing.
Okay, first thing is engage in real relationships. Jesus spent time with people face to face. He listened, loved, and challenged, and we want to do the same. When we have genuine conversations with empathy and grace, hearts can change. Start with the person next to you. Start locally. Remember, there's a power in changing one heart, impacting one person, even when the problem seems huge and overwhelming.
Absolutely. I mean, it's easy sometimes to think, well, what is talking to this one person going to do? What's that going to do? It's such a big problem. Well, sometimes that's where it starts. And that person talks to someone, and then it just multiplies.
Right.
And number 2 here, lead by example. And this is about action, not just words. So we have to show forgiveness, generosity, and love in our daily lives. Be kind to the next person on your journey, beloved. These, what seems like these small acts, demonstrate the truth of love more powerfully than any post ever could.
And I just want to say, when you say forgiveness and generosity and love, it can be a little triggering. It made me flutter to think, we're not talking about the oppressors.
Yeah.
We're talking about, in general, daily life. Give people some slack.
Right.
Everybody's going through something. That's what we mean.
We've talked about some folks really close to us that believe different things, and they're lost. They've been manipulated. They've been brainwashed, and they're lost.
They would say the same about us. We're
sure.
just doing our thing, trying to sort it out.
Right. And that's why what we shared, I think last week was about how can we be certain of what we believe. And so, and you can be certain about these affirming love beliefs that you have. And then more on this, Susan, and thanks for bringing that up. We are going to talk in a couple episodes about, and this may sound really weird, but how it's okay to hold a grudge.
Yes.
And so that will get into that whole...
Just listen. Don't touch it yet. Just
that will get into that forgiveness thing a whole lot more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
And then number 3?
Number 3 is take action. Join a local group that's already working on the cause you care about. Volunteer, donate, or organize. Action speaks louder than posts. Attend a town hall, town hall meeting, a city council meeting, or school board meeting. Join a public protest. This is all real action.
Yeah, we've certainly seen people do that at town hall meetings recently in city councils, and it has an impact. It really does. And when we focus solely, beloved, on external things like social media, we're at risk of missing the deeper work that's happening in our hearts and our lives. Mm-hmm. I mean, true change in this starts within, and from there it flows outward in what we say and what we do and how we live.
Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you in Luke 17:21. That's a powerful statement. It means the real change you're looking for doesn't come from external platforms or performances. It comes from how we love ourselves and each other. And for the past 2,000 years or so, the Christian church has been more interested in binding people up into fear, shame, and guilt. Just part of the church. Not all of the church, but we're talking about the rules-based church, performance-based church. And that is partly how we've arrived at this moment in history. We have talked a lot about this and will continue to do that. The teaching of contempt, patriarchy, the false teaching of hell. This is all part of what we're committed to deconstructing for ourselves and with you to see our hearts free to love and be loved. Let's emphasize unconditional love and acceptance for all and stop perpetuating the illusions of us versus them separation that enslave all of us, whether that's male, female, black, male versus female, black versus white, young versus old, Democrat versus Republican, American versus Russian, gay versus straight.
And we could go on and on.
Yeah, all of that is an illusion created by people in power as a way of maintaining their power and control over us and to continue to increase their wealth. We cannot continue to believe these lies. It's time to wake up, to stand up, and to speak up for the truth, to speak the truth, to speak love unconditionally.
Even when your voice shakes.
Yeah, even when your voice shakes. We belong to one another. We share a divine identity, every one of us, and a human fingerprint. And everything else is propaganda. Anything else is bullshit.
How do you really feel? That was beautiful, Susan. Thank you.
And I feel a little bit like this is like asking Black people in the civil rights movement to take action. They're motivated already by what they see, and we're asking them to take action. And we need a lot more ally support. And a lot of our listeners here are ally support. But it's like telling the one oppressed to stand up against their oppression, which is a big ask.
Well, yeah. I mean,
what else are we going to do? I mean,
well, I think it's about being effective. And I mean, if there was Facebook and Instagram and TikTok or whatever social media, MySpace, is that still a thing? Back in Selma, Alabama, would there have been so many people on the bridge?
Right.
And so it's not about, because we know you are speaking up and screaming
yes.
and supporting each other. This is about maybe
Doing
things to do beyond social media, how to get even deeper involved in this. Yes.
Use that angst, use that
passion, that rage.
Yeah, all of that stuff. channel it effectively. That's what we're really
that's right.
going for.
Because here's the bottom line, beloved. If we really want to see change, it's going to take each of us doing more than just posting on social media. Mm-hmm. And so let's move beyond that and into more meaningful action. Love above all else. In everything we do, let's create positive energy, reminding each of us that we are beloved. Our photos are on God, Spirit, the universe's fridge. And the universe has the most amazing freaking fridge. We are loved. We have a shared divinity, as you said, and a shared humanity. Mm-hmm. Shine our light to everyone around us and focus on standing up and protecting the least of these, those who are under such relentless and increasing attacks. And as one of our memes recently said, burn so bright that it burns their frickin' eyes. Because darkness, beloved, is merely the absence of light. All the darkness in the universe cannot extinguish a single flame. You know, we have 5 children and we'll soon have 5 grandchildren. And I want to love my way into the world that I want to leave behind for them. Mm-hmm. Beloved, we love you. We are with you. You are not alone on this journey. Let's remember to go through it together. We love you. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the FreedHearts podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant, inclusive community for you at freedhearts.org. Please just come say hello. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for the podcast, just email us at podcast@freedhearts.org. Audio engineering is provided by Luke Johnson. The music is provided by our daughter, Hannah Cottrell, who is Grammy nominated. You can find out more about her and her music at hannahcottrell.com. Please share, subscribe and follow on your favorite platform, and support us if you can. Thanks for listening.